XRP is currently going through a major crash, but not enough people are paying attention to exactly what level XRP just hit. Guys, this is very interesting because it actually indicates something pretty bullish that a lot of people aren't paying attention to. And in this video, I want to talk about that as well as a very interesting situation that's going on with some high profile people in regards to XRP. Like always, you're supporting me so much to this channel. Thank you to everyone who takes the time to like these videos and subscribe to the channel. These two simple things really do help me out so much. Also, if you have a good place to buy some XRP, make sure to check out my favorite exchange uphold down in the description of this video. With that said, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. So I want to start off with something pretty interesting, and it's regards to some high-profile people who were involved in XRP. Now, for those of you who've been paying attention, very recently, we've had some new people in the XRP community. Now, I wouldn't say these people are necessarily XRP people, but as those of you who pay attention to things like X have probably seen, recently, there's been a lot more high-profile people getting into XRP. People like Gary Cardone, Dr. Donish, Dave Portnoy, people recently getting into XRP because it's price appreciation. Now, all of these people were super into XRP when it was going up. Then XRP had a pullback. They all sold their XRP, and now they're all anti-XRP again. Now, the reason I bring this up is because a lot of people are spending a lot of time trying to convince these people, oh, this is why XRP is so great. This is why you should pay attention to XRP. People are constantly asking me, how don't these people understand it? And guys, the answer is a lot simpler than many of you probably understand. The fact is that most people out there in cryptocurrency don't actually understand cryptocurrency. A lot of the loudest voices on X and some of those popular people you hear from every day didn't buy Bitcoin until Bitcoin was over $60,000. And many of those people kind of made fun of Bitcoin the entire time Bitcoin was at much lower prices, like $3,000 to $6,000. These were very anti-Bitcoin people. The only reason they got into Bitcoin was because Bitcoin was going up a lot in value, and they saw it as a way to make more USD. They don't subscribe to anything Satoshi said in terms of the power of Bitcoin, the decentralized nature. No, they just see it as a way to make a quick buck. And because of that, a lot of these people saw XRP going up and decided, oh, let me throw some money at XRP real quick and try to make some more. Now, the thing that you need to understand is this is a much different way of thinking than people like us. We see the true value proposition of XRP. We understand that current price of XRP really doesn't mean much of anything. At the end of the day, we see a larger vision for XRP and XRP's fundamentals bringing it to a much higher price. And because of that, whether XRP is up 500% tomorrow or down 50% tomorrow, it doesn't make any difference to me. And I know it doesn't make a lot of difference to any of you guys, because at the end of the day, we're still not to where we know XRP can one day be. We understand the XRP ledger in a way that most other people don't. Let alone most other people don't even understand cryptocurrency. They just see it as a line to trade or a way to make some percent return. That's not what we see. We see a network effect that's going to drastically change the way the financial system works. And because of that, right, we don't really see a need to pay too much attention to what the day-to-day price of XRP really is. We have this lofty goal for what XRP one day will be. And if XRP gets there, I think we can all agree that the price will be astronomically higher than it is today. That's the goal and mission we're focused on. We're not worried about whether XRP is up or down one day or another. It doesn't make any difference. Because even if XRP was up 2,000, 3,000, 10,000% tomorrow, if XRP wasn't being used globally as a financial liquidity asset, ultimately, to me, that would mean there's still a lot more room to go. I'm looking for the end result. I'm looking for that vision to play out, because I understand XRP has all the potential to achieve that vision. But anyone buying XRP without subscribing to that vision, they don't understand the thesis. They don't understand what we think is possible. And because of that, they're never going to be able to really hold the asset in any meaningful way. This is where the term know what you hold is so important. Most people don't. Most people are simply holding something because the price action's going up. And I guarantee you all these people who got shaken out of the XRP with the last couple up and down moves, they'll be back in XRP when XRP is $15, $20. They'll be back and they'll be holding XRP and they'll be bullish again. But they don't have the capacity to actually understand the thesis or why they should be holding XRP. They don't even understand really why they should be holding Bitcoin. They just see it as something that has gone up, and therefore they think it will go up more. It's a very different way of thinking, but it's so important to realize that just because someone draws a lot of attention or gets a lot of clicks doesn't mean they somehow understand these things any better than anyone else. If you actually listen to some of the theses that these people have, it has nothing to do with the reasons why we think XRP will be astronomically higher in the future. Until the vision plays out for XRP, it's just pointless for me to spend time even thinking about what price XRP is one day or another. Does it mean that the charts aren't interesting? Does it mean that different levels in the journey isn't fun to track? Absolutely not. But it doesn't change my opinion one way or the other on what XRP's price is today versus what it is tomorrow versus what it is next week. These are all things that are just short term problems. And if you take a look at the XRP price chart in 2013 to 2018, you can't even see the difference in the fluctuations because XRP appreciated so astronomically. That's what I think XRP will be in the next couple years. That's what's going to happen over the next couple cycles where XRP has the opportunity to really achieve levels of net inflows that were not capable by simple retail investors. We're seeing larger institutions step in, and those larger institutions are going to keep on understanding and subscribing to the thesis that we have already known and bought into for such a long time. And until that thesis is globally adopted through proof, before these people can see these things happening and they don't have to rely on any vision to get themselves to understand the thesis, there's still going to be plenty of room for appreciation. So I just wanted to make that clear because I always get so many comments on, oh, is this person not understanding it bearish? They have this and this to say about it. Guys, if someone got into Bitcoin in the last 2 years simply because Bitcoin was up 100 to 500% and they didn't have any way of, if they didn't have any thesis on Bitcoin for the last 10 years, then to be honest, I could care less what their thesis is on XRP because it shows me that these people just don't have the mental capacity to even understand these things at the level you need to really talk on the level we talk about on these shows. With that said, though, I want to move on and talk about the recent price correction for XRP. Right after I talked about I don't care what XRP is at any single day. Pretty interesting event, so we're going to jump into it. What we can see right now is a lot of longs were recently liquidated from XRP. Guys, so when XRP makes the kind of moves it does, it is expected there is going to be some level of a pullback. Because like I just talked about, the more XRP's price goes up, the more people who run in and start throwing leverage at things and start trying to ramp up their gains on the prices. But the funny thing is like nothing has changed materially in the last couple days, right? More and more people bought into the thesis. Some people didn't understand the thesis and just started buying because line go up. And a lot of people took out risky leverage to do so. So when you have a 300% move upward, it's expected in crypto to see some kind of correction following that as people ultimately get shaken out of irresponsible longs. And large financial institutions know this, right? They see when leverage is high. They know if they dump a certain amount of an asset, they can pull price back down and put themselves in a position to accumulate some cheap XRP. Now, if we take a look at what happened to the XRP price chart, we can see it's just a blip on the radar and in fact retesting a very interesting level. We're bouncing right back off the 2018 high and these previous highs we had at the beginning of the year. XRP is just retesting these levels right now. In my opinion, this is actually ultra bullish. To see XRP coming back down, tapping these levels is great confirmation in my opinion. XRP broke out of this really strong resistance. It was stuck under this since 2018. It breaks through, it retests, and I think that's an extremely bullish scenario. It clearly held up, it's continuing to hold up, and to be doing so on that previous all-time high, I mean, that's the perfect place to see this kind of price reaction happening. Now, there is one chart that we have to keep an eye on, and that one chart is Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance recently got wrecked, and this is something that I was forecasting for a while, but it is finding a certain level of support on this long-term trend line. It is going to be really interesting to see what Bitcoin dominance does next. It is hanging in a place where we could see a huge crash in Bitcoin dominance if it's able to break through this level. And I think it's very likely we will see that. Now, it's possible that it recovers a little bit, trades a little bit more in this range, and then breaks down. Certainly, that can be a possibility. But guys, I do think we are getting to the end of this Bitcoin dominance run. Like I always talk about, we're not going to live in a world where Bitcoin dominance is anywhere close to 80 to 75% in the future. Too many important things are happening on other chains, too much tokenization efforts. There's too much demand for these other cryptocurrencies for Bitcoin dominance over the next couple years to stay at these really high percentages. Bitcoin dominance is going to come down to 25%. And when that happens, there is going to be a ton of capital flowing into these other cryptocurrencies. This is one of the charts I have been watching extremely closely. This is a chart that I have expected to roll over in the very near future. We just got the early signs of that rollover happening. Just so happens that it looks like we're catching a little bit of support here. But guys, I don't think that's going to last much longer. Trends like we're watching right here with this steady uptrend, this thing is so obviously overextended. It's not going to go up in this line forever until it gets to 100% and then suddenly Bitcoin's 100% of the market, right? It's a totally unrealistic view. This thing is going to come crashing down. I'm shocked that it is extended as long as it has, but in my opinion, that's only a sign that we are severely overdue for this thing to have a massive pullback. Maybe that happens once some of the altcoin ETFs start getting approved. Maybe that happens when the Ripple SEC case terminates. There's going to be some catalyst that really shakes this thing up. And I do think over the next year or two, we are going to see Bitcoin dominance making all-time new lows. Like I always say, this isn't necessarily bearish for Bitcoin. It just means that the rest of the market is catching up to its proper valuation, with things like XRP moving up in value as larger financial institutions are able to purchase the asset in a meaningful way. Guys, with all that said, I hope everyone has a great night. And for now, Mickle out.